And welcome back to another episode of Underdog Podcast. Happy Friday. Hopefully you got something planned for the weekend. You got something going on, all that good shit. I'm going to go see Mortal Kombat, taking my kids because, well, I'm that type of parent. To each their own. You can criticize me if you want to. Don't give a fuck. My thing is, Mortal Kombat. Well, one, their mother already had them playing the game anyway, so I'm not worried about it. My kids had a little bit different life than the average kids, so they done been through struggles and seen some things, so they're not your typical kids. Are your kids where you worried about them being exposed to things because of their innocence? My kids' innocence been gone. Whatever. Long story. But or to a degree their innocence been gone. Anyways, I'm more or less worried about whether or not I'm gonna waste my fucking money on this movie. I, I don't hope for the most, but just give me a decent product, man. Because if anything, we get the blood and guts and some fancy fight scenes, and animations, and too much CGI probably. But oh my god, just whatever, man. I'm just gonna take it as is. I might do a review on it. I probably won't do a whole separate review on it. I don't know. It depends on how I feel about it. I might just do a podcast episode on it. So we'll find out Monday. But yeah, that's how my weekend is gonna go and stuff. And video games, yeah, video games, Mortal Kombat movie, kids, sports games this weekend, and then some skating, ice skating, because apparently that's a thing for us lately now because of the friends. So that's what we do, and hopefully everything goes well and no issues, and have a great weekend, all that good shit. So today I want to talk about a little cryptocurrency news because there's been an influx of just articles just in the past 12 hours, just a bunch of stuff. I know the market went down, so everybody freaks out. For those of you new to cryptocurrency, because you've been you seen a little Dogecoin, Doggy Coin, whatever you call it, and you got excited about cryptocurrency, and then you're like, oh yeah, I'm gonna make some money in this form of gambling. Welcome to the stock market. Welcome to what Wall Street does. But I advise on long-term fundamental investments. Do your research. Uh, Invest based on fundamentals, basics, principles, long-term investments. But hey, to each their own. It's what your money, or it's your money. You do wherever you want to with it. But yeah, watching my money go down as I lose X amount of dollars. I'm so used to it now. I'm just like, whatever. It'll go back up at some point. I'm shooting for long term goals, anyways. I'm shooting for XRP price and B chain price and other currencies that I own. I'm looking for double, triple digit numbers and stuff. So I'm in the long haul. So it's long term investments. I had, of course, of the past year, I've had to use some of it, not just because of COVID, but other things in my own life. VA really, the government screwed me over, but whatever. So as we look at the cryptocurrency news and seeing things go down and stuff like that, I'm like, you're watching a narrative play out, man. In a sense, you're watching a movie play out. Yeah, you gonna talk a little about the capital gains tax, as far as the tax on the wealthy and all the other stuff, corporate taxes, and you also I'm gonna kind of hit on a little bit about. Well, actually, I kind of talk about it now. You have the whole climate deal, Green New Deal, whatever. The whole world is going to go towards this whole new climate change push. It's propaganda. Another fear tactic to get you to have the carbon tax. This is another one of those so-called conspiracy theories. Hell, I think I remember Alex Jones. I used to watch him like back in like 2010, 11, something like that. Even then, and he's kind of a little shady person as well. I mean, one of my friends called it. I ain't necessarily believe him, but I didn't discredit him when he called. He was like, "Yeah, I think Alex Jones is like a double agent. I think he's kind of working for both sides." So I'm like, yeah, hey, I don't doubt it. I wasn't necessarily 1% sure, but I was like, I didn't doubt it. So I just kind of been cautious of everybody I listen to, which is supposed to be anyways. Do your own research. But yeah, this whole carbon tax is going to sneak up on everybody, and to me, it's going to affect things in the cryptocurrency sphere as far as Bitcoin. Your I want to say some of your proof of work concept cryptocurrency, but really more your cryptocurrency that requires mining in the sense of, I don't know why they call it mining, but what they're talking about is using GPU processing power on computer hardwares and servers, whether or not, whether you want, whether or not servers is probably the better word to use. Basically, being in a big building, in order to keep those servers cool, you use a lot of energy. You know, your summer gets hot. In the summertime, your house gets hot. Man, I'm having a hard time talking today. Okay, let's get it together. In the summertime, your house gets hot, and obviously your electric bill goes up because you're trying to keep the house cool. The AC is working hard and stuff like that. Especially like my house, I don't really. I have one ceiling fan, and that's in the living room. Kind of fucking pointless, but that's how the way the house that I rent. That's how it is, and so it's hard to keep the house cool and stuff. So because the unit is working hard and all of those things, your electric bill goes up. So now imagine trying to keep all these advanced RTX or what 3080 wherever Nevada, the Vita 1080, 1090 wherever it is, the number they're on as far as their GPU, uh, those graphics processing units. So one, those things are expensive, and then two, the cooling. To keep those things cool, whether they're being cooled by a liquid cooling system inside the hardware or wherever design and got, and then you're talking about keeping the whole building cool as well. You got to keep that a server unit, a housing server unit, infrastructure. You got to keep it around like 70 something degrees, man, because that shit will overheat and burn the processing, the not just the GPU but also the CPUs. You burn the motherboard. So those cryptocurrencies stuff that take mining that utilizes that those GPUs, those processing powers, you gotta keep those units cool, right? So now we're and they use a lot of energy. I did one episode before talking about how I think it was something in Iran, the electric bill, the utility bill, whatever, it shot up through the roof and stuff because you're trying to mine these cryptocurrency, particularly Bitcoin. And a lot of Bitcoin mining is done in China, some in Iran, some other places stuff, but majority of the mining is done in China. And China already has their other cryptocurrency, or well, now their digital one. Now it's not necessarily a blockchain cryptocurrency, but it's digital in a sense, and it's really a centralized, central bank digital currency because, well, the bank was it the People's Bank of China or bank whatever, they are the one that I believe is issuing. So it's a 1-for-1 swap, or it's tethered to their paper fiat currency. So you got so you in a sense, as far as this climate change, and this is all there's some facts and stuff obviously, but a little bit more of it is my opinion as I'm sitting here trying to watch this narrative and try to play out because I'm trying to have foresight, right? Because that's what it's all about. Especially when you're talking about finances, economy, and you want to talk about stock market, cryptocurrency, stuff like that. You're trying to have foresight. You're guessing, bro. You're guessing. But what's the best guess? One that is backed by some type of factual information. So if you can see the patterns and you have the factual information, the evidence to support those kind of theories of your own, that's how you kind of have that foresight. And really, if you pay close enough attention, these people tell you what they're doing. So it's not coincidence that we're going to carbon tax, or not carbon tax. We're talking about capital gains tax, and we're talking about climate change. I think I've seen Zero Hedge tweeted out that Bill Gates is speaking at the White House for climate change, for the climate summit or whatever. Why is Bill Gates there? Why is Bill Gates any fucking where? Doesn't matter. He's just a part of that group. He's just a talking head. He's probably just someone, conspiracy theorists, so-called conspiracy theorists, whatever. You could just throw him out there and be like, oh, Bill Gates has nothing to do with it, blah, blah. No, he's just kind of a front man in a sense, just saying shit, or he's a messenger. Getting paid to do that, and probably getting paid to run to funnel certain monies and other atrocities through his foundation, him and his wife. That's just my own opinion, based on the shit they already kind of did, vaccines in India and different countries in Africa. But with the whole climate change thing, which this narrative has been being pushed for decades, even before I was born. I was born in the '80s, so the sky's falling. You know, the world is going up in flames because somehow 8 some billion people, even though half the population I think lives in modern cities, or I don't even know how much actual population lives in modern cities. But you know, we're destroying the rainforest, we're destroying this, blah blah, we're destroying the planet, which is to me arrogant to think that we human beings can be. Yes, we're destructive, but to that level that we could destroy a whole planet. This planet been around for billions of years. I think it can combat one species. And there's also the thing that yeah, this is the first time that industrialization has really been come about. So you tell me in the recent years of industrialization, the past couple what centuries, a couple hundred centuries of industrialization, that oh yeah, now we're gonna destroy the planet because too much carbon, too much methane, everybody's farting too much. Like that's not. It's. I know. Yeah, we can have an effect, but to what degree? And you're like, oh it's the planet is going up, and you know things are changing, the greenhouse gas effect, the ozone layer, and all that stuff. Well, it's also on a cycle. It's also on a cycle. Climate change, the planet cooling down, all of those stuff. Ice age, mini ice age, they happen on a cycle. And I don't know if it's every 10,000 years or what, but there tends to be a cycle of climate change stuff. So therefore, it's in the Bible, right? It's in the story. Was the story of Gilgamesh? From Sumeria, tons of ancient stories all talk about the same thing: a great flood. So there was a great flood, and it wiped out certain people or certain civilizations, rather. How do you not know that? Well, so there wasn't already an advanced civilization, and the flood that happened was ice age melting because not the whole planet was covered under ice. Almost like Antarctica was not really under ice this whole entire time either. You look a little closely, you do some of your own research, you might see a pyramid or two over in Antarctica. But you know, you're not supposed to talk about that. And some people think it's the edge of the world, just an ice wall around the whole planet on flat Earth or whatever. But hey, I don't discredit or dismiss anything. I just do my own research. So my thing is, with all this climate change and all this stuff being talked about, it's like, hey, they're gonna look for green energy efficient cryptocurrencies, XRP. You're gonna look for current, what's it, XRP? It should be XLM. I think VeChain. You're gonna look for, what, I want to say proof of stake currencies, where as far as that, you're not worried about mining because you want to get away from mining because it uses up so much energy. You want, and I think I have an article that talks about Bitcoin being more of a green renewable energy, something like that. No, I don't think I talked about that. I don't think I grabbed that article, but it was something that from like Elon Musk and Jack Dorsey was talking about. But whatever, man. Some of these people, they run up certain things just to sell off, right? They literally manipulate the shit. Like all these markets and stuff, all these corporate entities, all these individuals, they manipulate the markets. Why would they not? They're gonna make money. And if they make money based off of someone else's ignorance, hey, that's how the game is played, right? That's legit. Let's be honest, huh? Let's be honest. That's how the game is played. If I'm one of these billionaires and stuff, yeah, Elon Musk does this shit. That's why they get mad at him because it's like, hey man, you can't be you saying this shit, and all of a sudden he tweets out some support or whatever for Dogecoin, Doggy Coin, whatever it's called, and then next thing you know, it shoots up. Well, what if he has some? And then he says something about it, and everybody's like, oh, Elon Musk says it. Oh, it's a good idea to get it. Then it shoots up and stuff. He cashes out. The next thing you know, it drops, and everybody's like, oh, what's going on? I just played y'all. What do you do? Like, is that a crime? That's not nothing because, like, hey, it is what it is, man. You guys did this. I think they tried. I think I seen it on Twitter the other day. They tried to do something like that with Safe Moon. If we get it all go like this, and we buy a bunch, and we can send it up and real quick, and then we come, and we can all sell and make money and stuff. Well, that's what Wall Street does all the time, right? That's what these investment bankers, Goldman Sachs, all these hedge funds and stuff like that's what they do all the time. They put out news articles, stuff like that, and the stock market always reacts to news. So now we don't know. They're talking about cryptocurrency reacting to the capital gains tax news and all this other stuff. But man, pay attention to these financial markets and stuff because these things, money. I don't understand because money is the thing that everyone seems to be paying attention to or to care about in a sense. Yet some people, you don't understand that money is not something that you go to work for and make. It takes money to make money. It's a game. And you got to play the game of these financial markets, whether it's stocks, securities, cryptocurrency, digital assets, uh, assets in general, gold, investments, real estate. Like, this is where the money actually is being made, because this is the actual game. And it seems like it's complex, but it's not. It's by design to make it seem like it's complex. The only complexity of it is the fact that they butcher the English language and use all these fucking words that don't make sense from an outside perspective. Like, what is mining when you're talking about Bitcoin? Nothing other than just having taken a GPU, having the graphics process unit, and using that to do all these multiple these mathematical equations, these computations and stuff to solve these problems and stuff. And then after so many, it creates a Bitcoin or something like that. It has nothing to do with mining. And see, it sounds confusing, but you don't have to understand the details of it all. You just gotta have the basic concept. I try my best when I'm trying to understand something. I always try to relate it to something similar to it that helps me understand it, because I don't have to, and it doesn't even have to make sense to everybody else. As long as it can kind of make sense to me, I'm good. Because I just want to know the fundamental basics of it. And then, watch a YouTube video, watch somebody, or listen or read an article on it, and try to figure out the basics of this stuff. Because this is where the money is made at, right? This is where the money is made. It's not made you going to work. Let's be honest. It's not made by you going to work. I could have been a millionaire like 3 times already in my lifetime. Since I was 20, I could have been a millionaire, right? Because I didn't invest in these things when I should have. I was like, because every time I go do it, I was like, it seems kind of complicated, or I'm like, it wasn't super easy, right? It wasn't like, oh, just click, click, click. Now there's no excuse, because it's literally set up to be super easy, because now they want to invite the retail investors in. They want to invite the regular person in. Not necessarily Wall Street, but these big tech, these financial tech companies are coming in. Robinhood, Uphold, all these, I think Webull, all these different companies are trying to make it easier for the regular people to come in, because, well, they can't capitalize on the huge financial institution market. They can't get that money because it's already set in stone. Like your JP Morgans, your Goldman Sachs, and all your Citigroup, all these people, they already got there, right? So they're trying to capture the new millennials or whatever, the digital generation and stuff. They're trying to get them, because if I get some of y'all money and use that and flip that and then work with these other financial institutions, now they're making money. So now there's no excuse. There's no excuse. You can invest in real estate through Fundrise.com, right? You go to their website, invest in real estate. You can invest in a startup business with WeFunder. You can invest in cryptocurrency through through PayPal, through Robinhood, I think Webull, all these different apps and stuff. Uphold, you can buy digital tokenizations of gold, silver. You can buy other currencies. There's no excuse now, right? So you have your regular job. I don't care where you at. I don't care if you work at McDonald's. I don't care if you work in the military. I don't care if you got your own business. If you're not paying attention and playing this financial market game, you're missing out. You're missing out. And I thought about this stuff for years, and yet I didn't really get into it till like 2017. And even then, if I had gotten into at January 2017 as opposed to July 2017, I would have been a millionaire in that year. It's that simple, because if I just invested in XRP then in January, I didn't do it until January of 2018, after the fact. My first cryptocurrency I bought was Litecoin, because Litecoin was faster and the technology is better than Bitcoin. So I was trying to catch it, and I caught it around $40. And I made a nice couple $1,000 profit when it had a bull market towards the end of December 2017, going on to January 2018. And I was like, shit, that wasn't that hard at all. I was like, man, and it wasn't something that I just got into. It's something I had already been thinking about, but I never sat my ass down and took the time to actually do it. Because when I did, if I wasn't able to do it within a few minutes, maybe up to an hour, I was like, I'm done. And see, that's where the problem is at. But now there's no excuse for that because you could just easily log. Hell, crypto.com. You can log your ass on right there, bam, bam, bam. Next thing you know, you're trading cryptocurrencies and stuff. You're buying up shit. PayPal. PayPal, you can at least buy Bitcoin and stuff. Bitcoin, Litecoin, Ethereum, and Bitcoin Cash. You can buy those for right now, I believe, on PayPal. So there's no excuse now, man. You gotta be into this cryptocurrency stuff. It's the newest asset class. It hasn't been a new asset class since what, the stocks? I think back in the 1800s. So like, like this is it right here, man. Understand, money is a game. They're making this shit up, right? It's literal monopoly. You're making it up. So once you understand that it's just a game, and yes, you will lose money, but don't worry, because you will also gain a lot more if you pay attention to what you invest in. So you gotta be able to have patience, stand on your ground, and that's why you gotta invest in the fundamental principles of certain assets in which you're investing in, and not necessarily go on the whim of like, oh, this sounds good. Like you don't want to necessarily go gambling, but hey, to each your own. That's your money. That's your money. But that's my little intro spiel. Let's go ahead and get to today's topics and stuff. So here's we got on Twitter here. This is from Julia Chatterley. She does a lot of I want to say cryptocurrency news and kind of investment news on CNN. I think CNN International. But it's tax tumble. Investors spooked over concerns White House will hike capital gains tax. So before we go into that, this is a definition from Investopedia.com. You have capital gains tax, and this is updated. Get the fuck out of here. It was updated yesterday. Probably because of what happened, right? Because of that news being put out there. So it says capital gains tax is a tax on the growth and value of investments incurred when individuals and corporations sell those investments. So basically, if I have Bitcoin and say I bought Bitcoin, once again, could have been not a millionaire, but at least it would have had a good amount. I meant to buy Bitcoin in 2019, right? Yeah, it was 2019, and because I dropped to like 3,400, I was gonna buy at least one. But I think I bought maybe half of one, and then I put some other money into XRP. I still, over the past couple of years, I had to sell some of that stuff. So, but I still made a profit. As long as I make a profit, I don't care. If I have $1 more than what I had when I put that money in, I'm good. Positive, positive, positive. As long as I can come out positive, I'm good. But so, say I had a Bitcoin, I bought one Bitcoin 3,400, and the Bitcoin shot to 60,000. All right, let's say 58, 59,000, and I decided to sell that Bitcoin. That's capital gains tax because of me selling that and selling it into USD, United States dollar. Then I'll have to pay a capital gains tax on that, right? I don't do that shit. I'd be fucked up. I ain't paying the government no more money. Like they literally just taking people's money. That's as far as I think that's literal theft. That's theft. Hey, let me take your money. Why? Because I made this law so I could take your money. But okay, that's theft. That's fucking bullying, really. Let me finish the rest of this paragraph. It says, when the assets are sold, the capital gains are referred to as having been, quote unquote, realized. The tax doesn't apply to unsold investments or unrealized capital gains. So stock shares that appreciate every year will incur capital gain taxes until they are sold, no matter how long you happen to hold them. I was about to say, like, I got some stocks I sold. Capital gains bad, but capital gains really applies to. I think it changes often, but it's usually like $15,000 or $10,000 more, or whatever. Oh, okay. Actually, it's here. Let me read the rest of this, or at least these next couple of paragraphs. It says day traders and others taking advantage of the greater ease of trading online need to be aware of any profits they make from buying and selling assets held less than a year are not less than a year are not just taxed. They are taxed at a higher rate. So even your short term sales and your long term sales, or your short term assets and long term assets, you still got a tax on those. Once again, this is how fucked up the government is. This is how fucked up the government is. Because all this does is fund the federal government. And when I say fund the federal government, I'm not talking about, oh, money for bridges and roads. And no, no, no. Because there's already your local sales tax and county tax and city tax stuff that pays for all that. This is literally funding the federal government. It's not even we're not even talking about the military, right? We're talking about whatever the fuck the government want to do, like give money to foreign nations for no reason. Gender studies, where I'm sure you heard it before already. For whatever reason you want to throw it out there, yeah, this is how they fund shit. This is how government agencies, this is alphabet, yeah, all those alphabet agencies, the IRS, the NSA, the CIA, all these goddamn acronyms. This is how they fund those entities, along with the seized assets that they get. They create laws and regulations to find entities, corporations, whatever, individuals, criminals, whoever, find them, seize their assets, take the money. Now they got new assets. like, 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 how fucked up is that? But hey, that's business. Like when I say all this is just business, it's just business. It's just business, man. So you can, like I said, sometimes we get wrapped up in the civil liberties and all this other stuff, but these people, they're dealing in money. They're dealing in business. That's what they care about. I see like people talking about LeBron James and what he said and stuff like that. And yeah, of course, what he put out there was stupid as far as his tweet going ahead and criticizing the cop and stuff without knowing the facts. Doesn't matter. Doesn't matter for him because it's business. It's his business. He's a race hustler. It's the perfect term. Young River 59 call him that, but I'm sure others call him that too. But that's what they do because that's what Nike does. That's what Nike works for or works with. The Chinese Communist Party. Obviously, they have their labor camps over there, or excuse me, their factories, or wherever they got going on and stuff. It's business, man. It's business. It's just going along with saying whatever and stuff, and then he caught himself making a stupid mistake. And every now and then, these people slip up and make these dumb mistakes out loud in public for all of us to see, because they don't care what comes out of their mouth. I'm not even gonna necessarily call them stupid. Some people will call them stupid. My thing is, you don't really care what comes out of his mouth because it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. He's just going along with whatever narrative he's supposed to say or chooses to say that increases his funds, his bank accounts. His bank accounts. Because they can say all the things they want to say, but where do they live at? Right? What problems do they have financially? Right? He puts the ball in the basket and he makes he had $100 million contract to wear a shoe with Nike when he turned 18 right before the NBA draft. He was already set before he put the ball on the court in professional level. He was driving a Hummer in high school. You understand that? The man has chosen one tattooed on his back. Like, I respect him because he never really got in no real trouble, but that means the most outstanding person either. Because it's business, man. I keep telling you, there's no ethics in business, man. You make your money, you make your money. That's what it comes down to. So to finish off what this capital gains tax is talking about, so it says the U.S. capital gains tax only applies to profits from the sales of assets held for more than a year, referred to as long-term capital gains tax. The rates are 0 to 15%, okay. The rates are 0%, 15%, or 20% depending on your tax bracket. Short-term capital gains tax applies to assets held for a year or less and are taxed as ordinary income. So keep this in mind because as all these tax laws and capital gains tax laws come about, understand there's always a loophole. And these loopholes are put in there by design because if you have the good lawyers, well, if you have the top notch accountants and financial advisors and all the other stuff, because you can only have a finance degree or an economics degree when you go to like business school or you go some financial school or whatever, and you're at Yale, Yale, or if you're at Harvard, probably UCLA, all these prestigious universities and stuff. Because no one else really has a finances degree or accounting or economics degree. The best you can get is accounting for a lot of universities around there. Why you think that is, man? Why do you think that is, man? Because they don't want to teach everybody the game. But you can learn the game on your own. Why do you think 50 Cent and Jay-Z, these former drug dealers, make money? Because they realize the same thing. Actually, it's more cutthroat. Because, yeah, you're not worried about violence in a sense, but they'll find other ways to apply pressure to you in the corporate world. There's a dog-eat-dog world out there. Oh, man, I haven't never watched one of those Wall Street movies and stuff, but, man, I've been thinking about it. I'm also a little nervous, too, because it's going to fuck my head up. I know it is. So, yeah, as you have the capital gains tax, I understand that there's going to be some way to circumvent these capital gains tax because I already mentioned before, what happens when you don't have to sell your assets? What happens when you don't have to trade? When all you got to do is just trade from one thing to another and you're never actually cashing out because you're never selling. And you can already transact in Bitcoin. You can buy actual real estate property. I talked about it before on property.com. You know what? I talked about it before. Let me pull it up. Let's see. Property. Pretty sure that's it. Yep, property real estate. So it says multiple offers, multiple transactions, one solution. Property solves your multiple offers and real estate transaction problems simply and seamlessly. I want a better description, whatever. Securely exchange information between buyers, sellers, escrow, and title company to delight your clients with an easy to use interface and speedy design. Oh man. So this is more, it's also talking about kind of setting up blockchain, different digital technologies in order to sell a house. So it's making the whole contracts and all that stuff easier, cheaper, faster. Where is it though? The crypto certified agent course, transaction offer management. They have different products. I wanted to see. It used to be, well, that's crazy. They used to offer more or less like selling certain property. Let's see. Real estate you can buy using Bitcoin. This one was on property as well. I know it was. I looked it up before, but that was years ago when I looked it up. So who knows? It looked like they kind of changed some of their stuff around and focused more on the middle management or mediation in between selling and contracting and stuff like that between how buyer, seller, whatever. So this article is on realtor.com. It says the cost for cryptocurrency, 11 homes you can buy with Bitcoin. So these are homes that are listed that you can buy with Bitcoin. You got a house here. Oh, of course, it's in fucking Florida. Sunny Isles Beach, Florida. Price is 3,695,000 or 78.72 Bitcoin. What is above? It's on top of Trump Royal Tower. Oh man, of course. Property in New York, San Francisco, another property in Florida. And these are some places right now you can buy with Bitcoin. I'm trying to figure out who you actually go through. Look at that. Capital gains tax can apply though. See? Ouch. So that's what I really want to know, how they're going to be able to apply capital gains tax or whatever as they try to do some of this stuff when you're dealing, because if you buy something in Bitcoin, does it transaction happen in Bitcoin, and then it gets during that transaction they say they convert it to dollars, because what if the entity that which you're transacting with doesn't want it to be converted into U.S. dollars or whatever sovereign or central bank currency? What happens when they just want to transact in Bitcoin or in Bitcoin only? Do you have to pay capital gains tax on that? And see, these are the questions that they probably won't even answer. They probably just leave that blank because there you go, that's loophole. But that's loophole by design. And that's why I think a lot of these tax loopholes and stuff like that, they're there by design. Because that's the way you play the game, right? That's how you play the game. So to go back to Julia Chatterley, she did a little segment talking about the capital gains tax. Let's kind of listen to what she has to say.
Global health to taxing of American wealth reports that the Biden administration is readying a massive shift in the way the richest Americans are taxed by taxing wealth or investment gains in the same way that they tax wages. A proposal that could have significant implications for Wall Street. Christine Romans joins me now. Christine, great to have you with us. I'm not sure we should be surprised. I mean, President Biden promised this in the campaign, $4 trillion worth of tax rises, but cryptocurrencies reacted, stocks reacted. It's a big jump in capital gains tax if it comes through.
It is. It's a tax.
And see, I don't even know if cryptocurrency actually reacted to this, because sometimes cryptocurrency don't react to news the same way. Why is Dogecoin trending in Florida? Anyways, cryptocurrency doesn't necessarily, I don't think it necessarily reacts the same way. Stock markets, yeah, but cryptocurrency, I think they're going to kind of talk about a sell-off
that no one should have been surprised about. And also, if you look at just how much the stock market fell yesterday, stocks, not crypto, the stock market fell, you know, if...
Oh, yeah, they always talk about there's no women in stuff in this, women in business, women in finance and all that stuff, yet everywhere I turn, there's women everywhere.
Really believed that they were going to have a 40-something% capital gains tax on the highest earners, I think that you would have had a bigger sell-off than this. Or if they really believed that that would kill the rally, you would have had a bigger sell-off.
And that's my point exactly. I think it's already started. Yeah, it already started bouncing back. I'm getting alerts of XLM, ADA going up from Crypto.com. Even Crypto.com, their own little coin or whatever that they use to transact on there. Within their exchange, same as a Binance coin. Yeah, even they're bouncing back up. So that's a small sell-off, but not really.
It took a little bit back here. So we'll watch to see how this proposal works its way through. Caitlin Collins and Jeff Zeleny, our colleagues, are reporting that the White House is planning a 39.6% tax rate on Americans making $400,000 and more, and then using that tax rate for people, capital gains tax rate for people who earn $1 million or more. So the optics here...
Let's be honest, man. Obviously, it's globalism. It's communism. Communism needs... capitalism, funny, capital gains, capitalism, communism. Communism needs capitalism in order to operate. They need to raise those funds up. So you need capitalism to build a foundation economically or financially in order for communism to have money to sustain and do the things in the way of the federal government centralized authority. Because I think it's funny, because all they're trying to do is take everybody's money, but it's not all the people though, because there will always be certain select ones. Obviously, if you're Microsoft, if you're IBM, who else? I can't think of anybody else at the top of my head. Lockheed Martin, so all these other. I'm trying to think of another one. Amazon, all these different. Can I think of Amazon Web Services? Yeah, pretty sure Google or Alphabet Inc. rather. If you have any type of a contract partnership deal with the federal government, you're going to be safe from shit like this, because you're going to get those tax breaks. See, it's setting up for only certain, and this is all my opinion now. They're all, okay, I'm not no expert in this, but I think I can understand a little bit. I've been doing enough research for the past few years. So as I wrap my head around this, I see this as this is going to destroy middle businesses. Because when you're talking about small businesses, it's not your mom and pop that might bring in $100,000 a year. It's also businesses that bring in $1 million a year, $1 million plus in revenue and stuff. Because your large corporations, those are the ones that bring in $1.8 billion in revenue and have like $5 billion worth of assets on their books and stuff like that. And with the tokenization or the digitalization of assets right now, you can move those assets speed of light across the internet and stuff. You're not worried about having to wait 6 days to cash out. You can, or to move your assets or anything. You can do it now within seconds. And I'm not even talking about just the XRP or XRP ledger rather. But hell, even with Ethereum blockchain or Ethereum 2.0, Bitcoin Cash is faster. Litecoin network, Litecoin token is faster. Like you got a whole bunch of different digital distributed ledger technologies, these blockchains that can do these certain transactions, quicker than the normal financial institutions. I mean, why does it take forever to get your check? Right? Everything's always pending for days and stuff. We're so slow. We're so behind. But don't worry, because you had your COVID-19, so now you got your great reset. You'll be all right. But yeah, for me, those companies, those corporations that are able to secure those government contracts, well, they're gonna get those tax breaks. They're gonna get those tax cuts. So even if there was a 4% capital gains tax, they might end up with like a 20% or 15%. They're gonna get some type of discount because there needs to be some incentive in order for the federal government to give out these corporations that are dealing with that they're gonna have contractual agreements with. You gotta have some incentive, because why would I have a contract with the government if I'm not gonna get nothing? And what most would you want from the government if you're gonna have a contract with them? You're gonna want a tax break, more or less, definitely in capital gains tax. So that's one way right there to circumvent. So now you're not worried about your Amazons, your Walmarts, your Alphabet Inc. You're not worried about those institutions. It's more or less the small institutions, maybe a Publix or a small local grocery supply chain, where they're still considered small businesses. They might bring in millions or even top billions of dollars in revenue, but they're still considered a small business. Because I don't even know what small business definition seems to be kind of shady anyways. So that's who you're going to hurt the most with these capital gains taxes. I don't think people realize there's somebody that lives near you in your local neighborhood, your city, your county, whatever, that's a millionaire because their business brings in millions of dollars in revenue and stuff, right? And they have these assets and everything, but it's still considered a small business. It's going to hurt them because they have no close ties with the federal government, so they're not going to get no tax break because they're not going to get no contracts with the government and stuff. It's going to hurt them. It doesn't necessarily make the free market more competing. It cuts away from the free market, right? It kind of setting up this whole this partnership between corporations, huge corporations, and the federal government merging together. But that's just my thoughts. That's just my opinion. I don't know. I'm just making up shit. Just take that for that.
The rich, the really rich, and the White House continuing to promise it will not raise taxes on anybody making $400,000 a year or less.
It's quite fascinating, because I do think about the terminology I use, and that's exactly why I called it tax tumble rather than tax tantrum, because if this were actually enacted into law, I think we would see far greater selling pressure as people go, okay, I'm going to get in here and capitalize on the gains that I've made before this tax rise comes in. I mean, in certain cases, I was looking at it for California and for New York, you could be seeing tax rates approaching 60% when you include state taxes and federal taxes.
Fuck
and that's
that.
The question, Christine, how likely is it that this is passed by Congress?
This, I think, is the starting point for the discussions. They'd have to do an awful lot of convincing.
Hey, man, no, I don't push nothing past nobody, because just like it's a conspiracy theory. I did an episode about it, talking about city-states. Oh, it's a conspiracy theory that Washington, D.C. is a city-state. It's not a city-state. It's not it. What is D.C. trying to do now? They just literally passed, the House of Congress literally just passed a bill for D.C. to become a state. But don't worry, that was just a conspiracy theory.
To get this through, no question here. But an interesting thing, I mean, I'm looking back at the charts, and Liz Ann Saunders, the economist, where the stock market strategist, was actually posting this a little bit earlier. Looking back at recent times when the capital gains tax has been raised, guess what? It was raised in 2013. The S&P was up 30% that year. You did not see the negative effect on the stock market writ large for the year. So trying to look for that correlation between higher capital gains taxes and what happens in the stock market, it's not sort of consistently evident in the most recent past. You also have an economy that is improving, a stock market that's been up very, very well. And I think the White House has wind in its sails because of strength you're seeing in the recovery elsewhere, that they think they can try to make this case for fairness.
The economy's up. Don't worry. Trump doesn't get praise for that. It's all Biden. That's very possible. It's funny because it's the economy's up, but so is inflation.
That wages and investment income should be taxed the same way, at least for the very rich.
Yeah.
At least for the very rich.
The only pushback I'll make is we've never risen capital gains taxes by 100% before.
You're right.
And that's what this is. Whoa. Christy.
Whoa, I don't know what the fuck that was, but they kill with this stuff, man, because like I said, what happens when you don't have to sell? What happens when you can move your assets around the world through XRP ledger, XRP, because regardless of what people think about it, it's literally set up to be a reserve currency. They don't slip, even people from Ripple have slipped up and said it over the years stuff. And I think I had seen something. When did I retweet it? Let's see. I don't think I did. No. I don't think I did. But I know I saw something. Yeah, here it is. It was from the Genie at Reborn 13. And see, it shows that things are hidden in plain sight. So this is from the International Telecommunication Union. It's the United Nations Specialized Agency for Information and Communication Technologies, right? So this is one of their documents that they have on their website. It talks about digital fiat currency, the true alternative to physical currency. Was there a date on this other one? No, I don't see no date. And there's people been playing this shit out here. Remember, cryptocurrency or digital currency, that was a conspiracy theory as well. Oh, we'll never have digital currency. That's a conspiracy theory. We'll never get rid of physical money. I'm pretty sure at one point in time, people were like, "Oh, we'll never get rid of our gold stocks. What's this?" Your shit ain't coming out of nowhere, man. It might now you might get lost in some of these theories and stuff. And it might be a lot of it might be a lot of bullshit, but you pay close attention to the details, man. There's some truth in these things. And then it comes to this. This is in one of their documents on their website. It says digital fiat currency has all the beneficial characteristics of physical currency. Digital fiat currency, which will be your central bank digital currency, whether it's a digital currency or some type of blockchain cryptocurrency. It says a digital fiat currency is legal tender issued by a central bank, sovereign denomination, monetary base, universal and interoperable, instant settlement, true to 3 tests of currency, common union of account, store of value, medium of exchange. It's funny because that's exactly what XRP token is on XRP ledger, but whatever. Then it says digital fiat currency is not Bitcoin cryptocurrency, blockchain technology enabled Bitcoin, distributed ledger technology would be XRP ledger, and supranational currency Ripple XRP, and then initial coin offering. Supranational currency? A supranational currency? What's supranational currency? Supranational currency or super currency, and I believe this is probably from the same entity, organization, or whatever you want to call it, under the United Nations. Supranational currency or super currency is a hypothetical global currency that would be backed by a basket of revenue currencies at the IMF. This is why you see Ripple at swell events or their conferences and stuff like that, which I think, it talks about later on in this little excerpt. International Monetary Fund is there. I know some people think, XRP is a baker's coin and stuff like that. It's not free money. And all. Of course it's not. Of course it's not, man. because the people that create the money are the same institutions that align themselves with governments and corporations around the world. You see, they manipulate. I don't want to say control. Manipulate is probably the best word for all of this. Control is hard, but they try their best to manipulate everything. It's easy to manipulate stuff when, I don't know, you create it, when you invent it. When you make the rules to the game and you make the game that's being played, well, guess what? You kind of have a say so, or you at least understand how to manipulate the game itself, no matter how big it gets. So the idea is to form a basis for a new global monetary system and replace the current US dollar system. While the idea of this currency was part of the Keynes plan, it has gained traction once again as COVID-19 wreaked havoc and China's DCEP neared its readiness for mass use. The decentralized something, whatever. It's funny. Once again, COVID-19, the Great Reset. Yeah, COVID-19 was more than just about control, lockdowns, restrictions. It was more than just about trying to get Trump out of office. It was about collecting data. Patrick Berge talks about that. How it was about collecting everybody's information and data and stuff. I want to say through voting systems, through voting machines, whatever. But it was also about financial markets. It's about resetting all these different infrastructures to become more digital, more decentralized, but really centralized at the same time. Just more of a hidden centralization. It says, however, Ripple could be way ahead of all this because Ripple was made by design for this. Its connection with the IMF and central banks needs no introduction. Even the blockchain firm Swell Conference witnessed the participation of Raghuram Rajan, the former governor of the Reserve Bank of India and chief economist for the International Monetary Fund. It's right there, man. It's all in your face, man. It's all in your face. It's all in plain sight. Let's see what this says. Oh, okay. Okay, so let's talk about this from the Department of Treasury. And the questions on virtual currency. It says, what is the structure of digital currency addressed on OFAC's SDN list? I hope it explains that acronym because I do not know what that means. It says a digital currency addresses listed on the SDN list. God, what's SDN? Does it say somewhere on here? I forget what SDN. Whatever. Lists include their unique alphanumeric identifier of the 256 characters and identify the digital currency to which the addresses corresponds. Bitcoin XBT, Ethereum is ETH, Bitcoin XBT. Huh. Litecoin is LTC, Neo is NEO, Dash is Dash, Ripple is XRP. It's funny because they make sure they say Ripple and XRP together, even though they're two separate entities. Anyone can download the source code of XRP or the XRP ledger on GitHub, and you can build upon something on the XRP ledger and then utilize XRP tokens for the purpose of transactions or whatever you're trying to do. So once again, it's not really centralized. It's not something that Ripple, the company, owns. I think Brad Garnerhouse said before, and this is one of the things where they're telling you the truth. They're still lying about stuff, and they tell you that they're not telling you some things because, well, they have the NDAs, and he said it. We still have a non-disclosure agreement. We have tons of partnerships. We have partnerships that we have said and can say, and will come out and say, and then we have partnerships that we cannot talk about at all. And that's what gets me because a lot of this stuff is a lot of NDAs is floating around, so you don't really know. Like Ripple having an escrow at XRP, I'm sure it's probably owned by somebody, even though they say, "Oh no, that's not the case." And nah, it's probably owned by somebody. It says each digital currency address listed on the SDN list will have its own field. The structure will always begin with digital currency address followed by a dash and a digital currency symbol. As example, digital currency address dash XBT, which was they say is Bitcoin. Never heard of that, which really makes me wonder. And it says this information is followed by the unique alphabet. So, and this was back in June 6, 2018. When I say this stuff is by design, and they're light years ahead of everybody else, this is what I'm talking about. Because this is the information they put on websites. You're not going to hear this on the news. right? You're not gonna hear this on mainstream media. You're not gonna hear this. You're only gonna hear people like myself who are just sitting here reading these articles. We're the only ones gonna talk about stuff like this. And we're gonna dig into it because we just trying to know. Because I'm just trying to figure out the game so I can make a little bit of money, right? I'm not trying to make the billions of dollars that they're trying to do. I just want to make a little bit. Like, I just want a little bit of it, right? I just want a little bit. I don't want nothing special. I don't want too much of it. I'm not trying to tap into their financial wealth. I just want a little bit of my own. That's it, man. I want to see what this person, because it said this person has the same thing. Bitcoin has XBT. Let's see. Bitcoin, from an official currency standpoint, has always been XBT. I never knew that. David Schwartz, oh, that makes sense, covered a long while ago why this is. In currency identification, is the first letter always indicates the country that the currency belongs to. For example, USD, EUR, JPY. Any currency that does not have an issuing country starts with an X, such as gold, XAU. Okay. Now I understand that because I heard that before. But XRP is the only one that actually uses that X. Right? But XRP is XRP. There is nobody attached to it. The same as Bitcoin is Bitcoin. There's nothing attached to it. Now, organization was built around the utilization of XRP, but XRP was created before Ripple came about. And it says any currency that does not have an issuing, yeah. So Eastern Caribbean dollar, XCD, Central African franc, XAF, etc. See, this shit you're not gonna find, man. They're not gonna come out in the news and tell you this type of stuff, man. You gotta dig for this. You gotta research for this. And not everybody has the time, and not everybody, sometimes you get a little deterred from it because you're like, fuck, man, nobody want to look at this shit, and it's boring. And I try to explain it in a manner in which is interesting, because that's how I have to explain it to myself. I have to make light of it. I have to make jokes of it, because sometimes it's like, oh God, this is boring to listen to, but it's important. Because once again, if you want to make money, well, this is how you make the money. And you can tell in the narrative that's being spun around mainstream media right now, they're going to come after Bitcoin at some point. Everybody think, and the digital asset investor, you check out his YouTube channel, he talks about often as well, like, the government's not just going to let random ass currencies float around there and stuff. I understand the government governments or whoever probably created Bitcoin, and the FBI and the Department of Justice utilize Bitcoin and stuff and certain dealings that they do. And I'm sure China and other entities utilize it too. But once they're done with it, they're done with it. They're going to bring it out, because all they got to do is just create some law, and that's it. That's all it is. And he was like, oh, they can't do that. But they do that shit all the time. Right? These governments create laws all the time, and next thing you know, you can't use nothing no more. And really, what they're going to do is, though, instead of creating a law, it's going to be problem, reaction, solution. They're going to have a problem. We're going to react, and then they'll have the solution. And the solution would be to, okay, let's regulate Bitcoin to a certain extent. And I don't know if it's going to go away completely, but I'm sure some regulations will come about. Want to know why? Because XRP is literally being regulated right now through the SEC lawsuit with Ripple. Right? Like, it's literally, this is a regulation. Wherever it comes about, XRP literally will be the standard. And that's funny, because that's a hashtag that's been going around in these past 3 years with XRP, and part of the so-called XRP community on Twitter. Shit like that going on Earth, but whatever. So the whole thing is that XRP is the standard. They're trying to talk about basically saying the reserve currency and so like that. But no, XRP literally will be the standard because of this SEC lawsuit. It's a fucking movie you're watching. It's all it is, a movie you're watching. But don't worry, the directors and the producers of the movies, we don't really necessarily know exactly who they are. It's going to be somebody involved in the corporate world and the government world, and all they do is they jump back and forth, right? You have, I think it's Brian Cooks, the former comptroller, head of that department and stuff in the United States government. I think he jumped, and now he's either CEO or he's some type of head position over at Binance.us. That's all they do, man. They jump from corporation private to corporation public in the form of the federal government, and then they jump back. I think the first time I heard that being said was from Ron Paul. It's just going back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. That's it, man. That's all they're doing, and they just collect the paycheck. They essentially do the same thing everywhere they go, but they just collect the paycheck for it. Game. It's a game of these people. They play a different game than the rest of us. We want to get out and go to work. We want to get a job, get a decent paying wage stuff. Meanwhile, these people are doing all types of shit and making tons of money with no real effort. Right? Well, they sit there and come up with some ideas. They don't implement those ideas. Someone else underneath them tries to create those ideas and then put them into practicality. They sit there and talk. Had a little board meetings, drink some coffee, whatever, have some more meetings and stuff like that. And they're like, oh yeah, I'm working really hard. What? Because you've been talking all day? Right? You understand that? We're talking about CEO, top executives and stuff, or corporations. They have a lot of meetings. They talk. They have communications, emails, video calls, voice calls, text. That's what they do. That's what they do. Of course, I can't speak from experience. I've never been a top executive, so I'm only speaking on different articles I read, paying attention to what they do and what goes on and stuff, and really just kind of understanding how the government works from my own military experience. I used to always look at those like chiefs and high-ranking officers, generals, all of that stuff. And it's like, oh man, he's working really hard, and he says working hard, and it's like, but their work is different from your regular work, what you think of, and because you have different levels of work inside of a corporation. You have your bottom level workers, which are your more physical workers who do the actual job, and then you have your mid level workers who might do a little bit of the actual physical job, but they're more on the management side. And then you have your strategic level, and your strategic level is always your top level, and that's where your top executives are. In the military, that's where your top brass is at, or your officers, or your high E8s, E9s, stuff like that. All they do is sit in meetings. I remember I would talk to E8 or E9, even an officer. I'm like, oh, y'all, you just in a meeting all day. So he's like, yeah. I was like, oh, because I was like, oh, sorry, Jax, you should rank up. I was like, why? So I could be like you, sitting in meetings all day. I don't want to do that shit. It's boring. Like, I'd rather actually work, because I like the fact that I can manage a little bit and also work at the same time. I enjoy that. I don't want to sit in meetings all day and, oh, you're strategizing, but you're not really strategizing, because what do they do? What does your boss do at work? Hey, we need some new ideas. Stuff. No, man, they fucking making money off of you. They want you to come up with an idea, but you ain't gonna get a paycheck for it, right? So there's so many times in meetings and stuff, they're like, sorry, Jackson, you ain't got nothing to say. No, why? You get paid more than I do. Why would I come up with a fucking idea for you to implement, and what, you gonna give me something to put on my awards package? Fuck you. I'm not getting paid for this. This is America, damn it. I have a corporate mindset. I don't care if I'm in the military or not. I'm not doing extra shit if I don't get paid for it. And it was like, oh, you can't be like that. Don't be like that. You gotta do a job. You said, no. I thought it was America. I thought it was a capitalistic society. I thought it was free market. Why am I giving out ideas and I ain't getting paid for it? Right? It's one thing I gotta work all these 70 hours a week and I ain't getting overtime. It's another thing, you want me to give you an idea and I'm not getting paid for it? To understand, when these people are these top executives, all they're doing is strategizing stuff, and more than likely they're probably stealing ideas from someone beneath them, because that person beneath them is under the mindset thinking, oh man, if I get a good idea, I'll get rewarded and I can rank up, or I can get to that next pay grade, or I can get to that next position with higher money. Or they could just use your ass and you don't get shit. That's how the game is played, man. That's how the game is played, man. I'm just being honest. That's how the game is played. They got an article here from Reuters, and it says Turkey detains dozens in cryptocurrency probe, seeks founder's arrest. Cracking down on cryptocurrency, man. It's only you got like a whole bunch of cryptocurrencies out there. I think there's like 2,000 something plus coins that most the exchanges have listed. I think at best 10 coins might survive all this. You hear people talk about this kind of being the .com era, where you have all these different websites and all these different things, but I think Digital Asset Investor talks about, he brings up talking about pet.com. Some of y'all might not even know what that is. And then you have things like Amazon. Amazon was selling books online. Now look at what Amazon is doing in less than 20 years, right? In less than 20 years, Amazon went from selling books online to being in everybody's fucking household, listening to us talk through Alexa and all this other shit, giving us TV programs through their Fire Stick web services. So web pages and servers are being run on Amazon Web Services. Like fucking NFL runs their data stats and stuff on Amazon Web Services. Like, come on, man. They went from selling goddamn books online to this. But it's foresight. It's having a vision to do something and then having the guts to put that into play. But that's from a strategic level of him thinking that. Like you say, he put in the work too at the ground level with Jeff Bezos and his wife. Let's be honest. If his wife was there, he was running ideas past her. So I don't care what nobody says. She should probably take some of the money anyways. Okay, so this it says Turkey detained dozens of people in an investigation of a cryptocurrency trading platform and sought it. Is that supposed to be a space right there? Sought it. What the fuck? I'm on Reuters, right? Because everybody makes grammatical errors. And sought its found. Is that a word though? Whatever. And sought its founder's arrest in Albania. Police said on Friday after Turks filed criminal complaints saying they have been scammed. So yeah, this article is from today, right? Yeah, it's from today, April 23rd. And see, that's what happened because there's a lot of cryptocurrency scams. There's a lot of ICO scams. There's a lot of them. And see, that's a problem. And then you have the reaction, and then you have the solution. The solution would be way of government regulations because they already been talking about it with the GameStop stock, and they got mad at the retail investors doing the same thing that institutional investors in Wall Street do all the time: manipulate the system, play the game. Like, hey, let's run up a bunch, let's all buy a bunch of this and make the price go up and stuff, and we can make some money off of it. But that's what Wall Street does all the time, and I think I talked about it before. I kind of broke down the whole short selling and stuff like that. I had to wrap my head around that concept. But you kind of have that. Yeah, I think you check out my past episodes where I kind of talk about that. But you kind of have this thing going on where after that, all of a sudden they start talking about, oh, well, we need to find a way to regulate the market so this doesn't happen again. Oh, you mean so the regular guy the small guy cannot make money the same way Wall Street does? God forbid we make money the same way Wall Street does by playing this fake monopoly game. Oh, we can't do that. We can't do that, but they can do that because Wall Street cuts money and gets bailed out by the federal government because the federal government gets money from Wall Street, so they go hand in hand. Actually, your politicians are investing in the stock market. You don't think those politicians are doing the same thing? What was that lady name, man? I can't think of her name. Martha Stewart. You don't think they're doing no insider trading, right? And check into Nancy Pelosi and stuff. You really think all these people are making money by selling books, right? Come on, man. Nobody reading their books. Nobody give a fuck about these people's lives to read their books. And even so, they ain't selling hundreds of millions of copies of books either, man. Man, they have insider information and stuff. They do it all the time, but nobody says anything, right? You want to know why nobody says anything? Because more than likely, if you had a chance to do it, you would do it too. You can check your old city commissioner, your city council, your local legislation. When they have all their little housing developments and their contracts and stuff, see if anybody get any kickbacks. See if anybody maybe got a stock tip or something, right? But nobody want to look into that stuff because you got to really dig for that. And sometimes it's hard, sometimes it might not be hard. It depends on how well these people cover their tracks. But every now and then you'll see little news reports come out and it talks about it. But the media doesn't want to talk about it too much because it makes regular people mad. And it's like, wait a minute, why are we out here busting our ass working every day? Because we're told this is what we're supposed to do. But really, all the hustlers making money, politicians. You're not supposed to be a career politician, man. It's not a job where you make money. I think it was an article where Andrew Cuomo pulled in $225,000 as a governor. What the fuck? I didn't know a governor can make that much money. Right? And let's not even talk about any assets that he has accumulated over the time frame either. I was thinking about pulling that up for today's episode, but I might save it for another time. But I just thought I'd throw that out there. So at some point, all these governments around the world, because they got all globalism, they got to come together. It's like, hey, we need to find a way to regulate these trades so we can help the little guy from getting scammed. And that's what worries me about Dogecoin. And these articles, I'm not going to go too much into. I just kind of want to really touch on the headline to illustrate the bigger issue which I want to talk about. When you talk about Dogecoin, I don't know too much about it. The research I did do is, to me, there's no real fundamental principle of it. It's built. I think it's built on the block Bitcoin. I think it's on the Litecoin, or which is under Bitcoin. I think it is built on one of those uh, blockchain networks. So with a Dogecoin, it might have a little bit of utility, but it's not real. It's not any real institutional utility, right? You're not really gonna build a real infrastructure. No organization is gonna be backing it or anything like that. At least as far as I know right now, from my own knowledge of it, my own small knowledge of it. So this is a little bit more or less, as like I said earlier, more of my opinion. So with Dogecoin, what it's bringing in? It's bringing in millennials, right? It's bringing in the younger generation. And one of my friends asked me about it. Like, oh, you ain't telling me about XRP? I'm like, yeah, I did. I tell you guys at work, all the younger troops, the younger airmen and stuff, try to tell them. I was like, yeah, tell me. I'm like, yeah, I did, but whatever. And then talking about Dogecoin, I was like, I'm not really doing that. And they were like, oh, well, I'm going to get him. Like, hey, you do it. That's your money. And yeah, you can make money off of it, but it's kind of gambling. I mean, let's be honest, right? When you're talking about day trading, so that's it's gambling. It's legalized gambling, bro. That's all this is, man. It's a game. It's a game. So I'm thinking about with Dogecoin, like, you know what? They're gonna bring in a bunch of millennial, a bunch of regular retail investors, the small individual. They're all gonna buy up Dogecoin and stuff. And all of a sudden, government will come along and be like, well, or all of a sudden, or it'll crash for whatever reason because there's no real fundamental value, no real utility built upon it or behind it, no organization behind it and stuff. So next thing you know, you'll see like a crash or something with Dogecoin, and then all of a sudden, tons of people lose their money, and then next thing you know, government comes in and be like, same thing with GameStop stock, more or less like, oh, well, we don't want you guys messing with the markets like this because you don't really have the education. You don't really understand what you're doing, because you didn't go to business Yale school or go to Harvard Business School or stuff like that. So you guys don't really understand what you're doing. But don't worry, we'll protect you from yourself. Because if you haven't been paying attention, especially the United States government and really governments all around the world, they all been doing the exact same thing and saying the exact same thing when it comes to COVID-19, your own health. Hey, you don't know how to take care of yourself. You don't know how to make sure that you don't get sick. So don't worry, we'll take care of you. Hey, you stay inside for a little bit. We'll take care of you. Oh, well, you lost your job. Don't worry. Here's some money for you. We'll take care of you. So the government operates already under the mantra of don't worry, we'll take care of you. And that's the problem reaction solution I'm talking about. So far as Dogecoin or just any other cryptocurrency, say something like Safe Moon, I think was, like I said, was hashtag or was trending on Twitter or something like that. And I think Safe Moon is an actual coin. I don't even fucking know. But all it takes is somebody to create some of these coins and stuff like that, and people make a lot of money. And if you don't cash out right in time, next thing you know, the next day, the shit crashes, hits the bottom, and you losing all this money that you invested and stuff. And now you get people mad and stuff. And then bam, here comes the government and say, oh, well, we'll don't worry, we'll fix it. We'll create some regulations, some law stuff. That way, nothing like this ever happens again for the little guy. That's it, man. That's it. So articles like this, don't be surprised you start seeing a lot of roundups because that's a scam in itself. If something shoots up really fast and then drops to the bottom, that's a scam in itself. So don't worry, the government will come in and help you out because you don't know how to spend your own money. My thing is, that's your money. Wherever you do with it, you do with it. Hey, that's not my business. You need to educate yourself, and you take your own chance, your own risk. I don't lost money. I lost thousands of dollars. Trust me, over the years stuff doing this stuff, and I also made some money. So it comes along with the territory when you invest in stock and stuff like that. But you're not supposed to invest in more than what you are can risk losing. That's no one rule investment. Then also know another rule: buy low, sell high. Gotta know when to get out. So this kind of goes in to talk about the Thodax platform, which had been handling daily cryptocurrency trade worth hundreds of millions of dollars, said on its website on Thursday it could be closed for 4 to 5 days due to a sale process. But users who have not been able to withdraw money or access their accounts voiced concern on Twitter that they may have been defrauded. Comments widely picked up by Turkish media. See how this plays out? This is, once again, what happens around the world, people in America got focused on, pay attention to, because if this happens in Turkey, this doesn't mean it can't happen in America, right? Police raided, blah, blah, all these different suspects, 78 suspects. I think they got 62 of them. Yeah, they got 62 people, and now they're being detained. It says the state-owned news agency, Anadolu reported. God, I don't know. Ooh, I had a hard time with that. Istanbul police said the company's founder and CEO, Ferric Faith Ozer, have flown to the Albanian capital Tirana on Tuesday. Interpol issued a red notice for Ozar on Friday after a request by Ankara. Turkey's interior minister and police chief spoke with their Albanian counterparts on Thursday to seek Ozer's arrest, Turkish police headquarters said. See? And they'll find you. They'll find you. That's Interpol, right? They'll find you. It says, Thodex said, quote unquote, negative media reports about it were untrue, and that banks and funds, which we'll identify later, wanted to invest in the company and had a proposed partnership. The 24-hour trading volume on Thodex was 538 million on its last trading day, according to, excuse me, wow, that was bad. According to CoinMarketCap. Last week, Turkey banned the use of crypto assets for payments, adding to factors that sent Bitcoin down 14% at the weekend. I remember that. Oh, yeah, it was last weekend. And that's all it takes, man. That's all it takes. It's already happening. It's like, oh, Bitcoin this, Bitcoin that. But all it takes for the government to come in and say, oh, we're not doing Bitcoin no more. Bam. Or something like, oh, you can't use cryptocurrency assets for payments. Bam. And then the next thing you know, they'll change around like, well, you can do it if you're part of this type of institution. Like that's all it takes, man. That's all it takes. And it sucks. And it should suck. Because government ain't shit. They're not here to help nobody. They're here to control people in a sense. It's more or less like regulate you. Like, oh, like I said, don't worry. That's really what the government mantra is. Don't worry, we'll take care of you. Don't worry, don't stress out. We'll take care of you. Don't worry, you go to work. We'll make sure we pay attention to your IRA stuff. We'll pay attention to your investments account. We'll make sure that you do this. We'll make sure that you pay enough taxes so we can fund the federal government. Don't worry, we'll do all this for you. I don't need you doing shit for me. Fuck, you're almost better off having a supercomputer do it for you. But then again, that's probably what they want to have next. Oh, that's the end of the article anyways. And then you have this article here from Seoul out of Korea. I was out of South Korea. And it was uploaded today on the 23rd. It says Seoul government seizes $22 million worth of crypto from tax evaders. They're coming, man. They're coming. And see, this is a global crackdown, man. This is a global crackdown. Because they want people's... One is bully tactics. Actually, it's mob tactics. Right? It's mob tactics. It's, oh, you got to pay this tax for operating it over here. All right, you know what? We don't like how you making too much money. Hey, let's get some of that. What are you going to do? Remember, the government got all the weapons, got all the guns and stuff. And this was what I'm talking about when people want to say, oh, let's not have weapons and stuff like that. We don't need these rifles. Who do you think the weapons are for? It's not for your neighbors, for the government. Because if you have not paid attention to world history, this is what governments do. Because this is what people do. This is what people do when they have too much fucking power, or the perception of power. When they feel like they're in charge of people, then they start to look at people as of, oh, I know what's best for you. Then they get narcissistic, and then they say, oh, well, you know what? I'm in this position and I got here through so-called my hard-earned work or whatever they want to say. You know what? You don't know what you're doing with your money. You don't know what to do at all with your life. Don't worry. I know what's best for you. Let me make this decision for you. Even with politicians, right? Politicians are supposed to represent you. They don't need to make decisions for you and be like, oh, well, these politicians are making these decisions for us. No, no, no. That's where you fucked up at. Because now you're giving them the perception of power. They don't make decisions for us. They don't make decisions at all. They're supposed to represent us, right? Especially in America, as far as your so-called constitutional republic, they're supposed to represent us. But if people get narcissistic, they get a big head, their egos run amok, and they're like, oh, no, you know what? I actually know what's best for the rest of you peons. I'm just telling you. That's what I'm telling you, man. That's how they look at us. That's just the honest to God truth of the situation. And I can even see this on a micro level, just in like different work sections, different bases I've been at in the military and the Air Force, where someone comes along, E4, E5, whatever, all of a sudden they're in a position of so-called power or authority because of a job title, and they act like, oh, I'm in charge of you. Oh, no, I know what to do. And it's like, whoa, 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 whoa. Like, now when it comes down to making certain decisions, yeah, there's a hierarchy, there's a structure here, because this is how the government, this is how the military works, also how the government works. But hey, I'm still not an idiot. Like, let's talk about this. Like, you still just a person, man. You're a person. No person should be supreme authority of another person. So it's completely illogical for any of us to sit here and be like, oh yeah, the government needs to make these decisions for us. No, 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 no. You gotta make these decisions for yourself. Because when you allow the government or any entity outside of yourself to make decisions for you, people that don't know you at all to make individual decisions for you, now you give up the perception of power. See, that's why they can't tap into your free will, because you have to give that shit up. And this is a slippery slope, man. It says the city government of South Korea's capital, Seoul, has announced the seizure of cryptocurrency worth 25 billion won, 22 million. Shit, I don't know why I had a hard time with that. $22 million from individuals and company heads. According to a report by the Korea Times, the confiscated crypto came from people identified as tax delinquents by the city's tax collection agency. As part of the investigation, the Seoul office of the National Tax Service identified 1,566 individuals and companies heads with overdue taxes. The NTS office in Seoul then proceeded to seize 22 million in digital currencies held by 676 of them on 3 crypto exchanges. With mandatory real name crypto trading in South Korea, government agencies can requisition customer trading details from cryptocurrency exchanges. So you got same as kind of similar as the United States, where if you sign up on Coinbase, Binance, whatever, you gotta show your legal identity. You gotta do a whole face scan and stuff. So they gotta know. So even though they're trying to get a idea of what you have in cryptocurrency terms, they know who has cryptocurrency and who doesn't. The government knows I got cryptocurrency, right? The government knows you got cryptocurrency because you already done put yourself down as being registered through your legal identity, your social security number, hell, and your face scans, showing that you are who you are. I'm sorry, I had to laugh at that again, man. Like you're not, man, because these people, these regular individuals, whoever, your tech geniuses, whoever of the world and stuff, they've been working along association with governments because some of these people already go into the mindset of rules and regulations. So they look to the government because they care about rules and regulations, because they want someone to give them regulatory clarity and stuff, as opposed to trying to do your own thing. And whoever created Bitcoin, or the people that created Bitcoin, or the government that created Bitcoin, really just a test. In my honest opinion, I feel like Bitcoin is just a test. It's never the first one out the door, right? As far as these new technologies and stuff like that, it's usually the ones right after the first one. It's the ones that said, okay, we saw what they did, now let's improve on that, right? It's always the next generation. Let's see what else it says. Businesses also have to comply with strict crypto transaction reporting requirements or see their executives face jail time. So they're coming out hard. They're coming down hard, and I think South Korea is big on XRP. Yeah, I think they're if you check Fiat, was it Fiat Leak, something like that. You check their website where they're always doing a lot of XRP transactions and stuff. But this is what's coming down, man. There's an example in Turkey, there's an example in South Korea. That's all it takes. I'm pretty sure. I know there's been kind of cryptocurrency or ICO crackdowns in the United States over the past years too. That's all it takes, man. Government come in and be like, oh, well, we're gonna take this away, and really, it's also the people who just. I mean, let's be honest. We gotta hold ourselves accountable, and not just let the government walk in on us and take this stuff. But hey, if you can't defend yourself physically, well, you lose that battle, right? It's one thing for them to apply pressure psychologically, but it's also another thing for them to back it up physically as well through their arsenal, right? Through their government, police, military, whatever. But this is it's coming, man. It's coming, and they already have a cryptocurrency tax law and set to come into effect January 2022. The tax regime will see a 20% levy on crypto trading capital gains above $2,300. So bam, they're coming, man. These government institutions are coming. I'm trying not to cash out. My goal is to only transact in cryptocurrency through Visa, Master debit card and stuff. I might not even put anything to my bank account, right? Because if I do, that means I have to sell it. So I'm not trying to do that because I'm not trying to pay no capital gains tax, man. Is that a loophole? Is that how you circumvent it? I don't know. I haven't made any large transactions like that yet. No, I haven't made. I had to think about it. No, I haven't made any large transactions as far as like $10,000, $15,000, $20,000, something like that. I haven't made anything like that, so I don't know. I don't know, but we're getting along this territory because you're gonna see these prices go up and stuff. And really, as these prices go up, and more people make money and stuff, the regular retail investor makes money. All that does is fuel the government to come in even more. But we gotta put a hold on this. We gotta put a stop on this, and we gotta make sure you guys understand what you're doing. And oh yeah, by the way, hey, we need some of those taxes as well. It's a shitty situation, man. It's so fucked up, man. There's some other articles. I don't know if I really want to talk about this though. And shit, the page ain't even loading. I don't even know what happened to it. But it was talking about NFTs. I don't know that much about NFTs. Actually, I had one of my friends ask me about it. I was trying to explain it to them, and I was like, to me, NFTs are really just digital or tokenization of like, was it non-fungal? NFTs, non-fungal tokens. Damn, non-fungal tokens. So really, it's like so you have like XRP is native to the XRP ledger, but our BTC is native to the Bitcoin blockchain ledger. So say you want to put a token on it that's not native to that ledger. I think that's kind of what NFTs are, non-fungal tokens. So something that's not native to that ledger, and so now you can tokenize artwork or contracts or like digital music, stuff like that. Anything that you can kind of digitize or tokenize, now you can put it on, have it as an NFT, and then you can put it on different blockchain distributed ledger technologies. Yeah, I hope that makes sense. I try to explain to my friend, and I was like, I hope this makes sense. They're like, oh yeah, that does. I'm like, I don't know. This is how I explain it to myself in my head. But I kind of want to touch on this because to once again kind of illustrate the bigger picture of all this. Digitalization and the tokenization of assets is coming. Everything will be on the internet, because if it's on the internet, damn, this shit will stop moving around. If it's on the internet, then you can track it. You can have it accountability and stuff, and you can kind of know who's doing these transactions and whatnot. Probably also easier to tax people as well. I really don't know why I should have skipping all over the place. But so this headline from markets.businessinsider.com, NFTs are now a pillar of the digital economy, and Bitcoin could destabilize gold, report says. So this is one of your articles they throw out there, kind of throw you off as well. It says NFTs play a key role in a digitalized society and show crypto can change the world. A report by eToro and the Tie says. Bitcoin could destabilize gold within 10 years. Why would it destabilize gold when you're going to see the digitalization or the tokenization of gold? You can always buy a tokenization of a gold asset on uphold.com, uphold app or whatever. I think I had Australian gold, which I think is Western Australia, the state of Western Australia, in the country of Australia. I think they're one of the biggest gold mining in the world. I don't know. I had some Australia gold, and I think I spent some groceries on it or something like that. But I was really just trying to do a test run and see, like, okay, this is something. I was really just trying to see, like, okay, what happens when I make this purchase? Is it gonna sneak up on me? And it's been months since I made that purchase, so I'm just kind of, you gotta test these things out on a micro level, on a smaller scale, before you try to do any macro or any bigger, large purchases, just to see what the fuck will happen, right? Because even with these digital, with these debit cards, your Visa and MasterCard, stuff like that, the thing is, they all have limits on how much you can spend in a day or whatever. But, depending on what you're buying, it's not a big of a deal. It says, yeah, so destabilize gold within 10 years, but it's unlikely to replace the dollar, according to the report. Now, nothing's going to replace the dollar, but something will replace the dollar as the global reserve currency. It has to. That's what we talked about in one of the episodes of the podcast. That's what the new Bretton Woods 2.0 agreement is. Getting rid of the dollar reserve currency. The dollar was never designed to be a long-term solution anyways. It was designed for really people to make money off of it and then dump it over the course of decades of 6, 7, 8 decades, wherever. I think the original Bretton Woods agreement was after World War II, I think. Somewhere in 1945, 46. I can't remember. It says that NFTs and the global economy were the main influences in crypto in the first quarter. So it goes on, NFTs are a pillar of the digital economy, could fundamentally impact our society, a report published on online broker eToro and the Tide earlier this week says. At the same time, I'm saying the same thing. I don't know if they had anything else really about NFTs. Let's see how long this article is, not even that long. The report assessed the main influences on the crypto space in the first quarter of 2021 and found non-fungible tokens, or NFTs, and the state of the global economy, especially potential hyperinflation, were the dominant themes. I want to see if it talks a little bit more about NFTs. NFT mania in the last quarter shows how impactful crypto can be, and that it has the potential to change the world. Oh, okay, whatever. Everything has potential to change the world. Oh, it has potential to change the world, man. It's all by design, man. Think tanks, really. To be honest with you, there's these think tanks, these corporate think tanks out there that sit around and think of this shit. It's probably just some regular people sitting in the room thinking about this shit. And they get paid X amount of money to think about these ideas. They're probably literally getting paid for the idea. I'm gonna do an episode on that. That's something I gotta look into as far as think tanks. Because I'd kind of be surprised how many things that have been implemented in modern society over the past couple of decades have came about through think tanks. Hell, the Bilderberg Group, is that not a think tank? Every time they had their little summits and stuff like that, they're like, oh yeah, we just come together and kind of talk about things. Yeah, but every time you come together, you're talking about things. Are ideas not coming out of that and being implemented somewhere first? And then you test it out and then you apply it to a larger scale? Let's see what else it says. NFTs are unique digital assets such as images or videos that are based on blockchain technology. Pretty much what I said earlier. They surged in popularity this year, selling for record prices of more than $69 million in the case of one piece of digital art. So art, videos, music. So guess what? Entertainment industry, basically. Your movies, right? Because what's the NFT when all these streaming? Oh, you know what? Shit. Damn. I wonder, is that going to apply to digital content as far as streaming services when you're talking about certain movies? I want, huh? And you know what? I think there's a spring initiative. I think it's with with that one dude that manages Justin Bieber. I can't think of his name right now. And they're talking about using XRP and stuff like that. But I wonder, can you create Yeah, you should be able to create NFTs. They're talking about as far as like, so the copyright of music, right? Copyright of music is a big deal, especially after, for those that are old enough to remember, Napster. You know, having your music being copyrighted and stuff like that. So now you can always have ownership and know exactly when that music is shared, when it's purchased, stuff like that, because you created an NFT of the actual original ownership of that music. I think you're having some artists right now starting to create NFT albums and stuff like that. Oh man, yeah. You know, I'm gonna have to dig in some. Yeah, I'm gonna have to dig into NFTs now. I kind of put it off long enough. I've been paying attention to some of these news and stuff, but I need to dig into it because let's see what else this article says. So as society becomes increasingly digital, there's a need to cement ownership of digital work created and shared on the internet. NFTs solve the problem. See, problem, reaction, solution. You can have NFTs without blockchain. You can't have NFTs without distributed ledger technology. See, Bitcoin broke down the door for all this stuff by design, man. It's not no, oh yeah, because of this. Yeah, I can't believe, no, 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 no. Because the way this stuff is happens out in almost a chronological order. There seems to be some type of structure to the way these things are introduced. It's logical. So if it's logical and it's practical, that means somebody sat there and thought it out. Or so supercomputer sat there and thought it out, right? Let's be honest now, because that still is in the realm of reality where you can have a supercomputer sitting there actually coming up with all this stuff, or a quantum computer, because we're knocking on the door of the quantum reality. So this is a thing, right? Or my fault, quantum internet rather, because the internet is just a connection of computers or servers rather talking to each other. So if you get one computer or server that's a quantum capable talking to another one and talking to another one, well, now you're creating a network. You get big enough, now you got the internet. Okay, so it said NFT solves the problems that exist within this space, such as proof of ownership, uniqueness of digital assets, and scarcity. So obviously, if I'm a musician and if I'm an artist, whether it be a music artist or regular digital art, paintings, stuff like that, this is what you want, because now you have complete ownership. If you are the original owner, you have the original NFT of that. So now you have proof of ownership of everything. You're gonna know exactly where your stuff goes at, and you're always gonna get a cut of that. And see, you gotta go with it because it makes sense, right? Of course, the government gonna come in and take their cut in some type of tax levy or something like that, but digitalization makes sense. Now, the technology might be abused, but the concept of the technology, logically speaking, makes sense. So you gotta go with it. But god damn it, especially for content creators, I guess myself or whoever else, you making YouTube, what about podcast episodes, right? Anybody could take my podcast and just spin it around with a different name and pretend to be me and stuff and resell my podcast all over the internet. Because it's not encrypted, right? Anybody could do that. But say I put my podcast, create an NFT and put on a blockchain. Now, okay, now that's tied to me. In a sense, you can kind of do that with some of your digital content when you upload things like on the Odyssey, right? That utilizes blockchain technology. Now you can have an NFT tied to that through the content in which you upload. Now you know exactly where your stuff goes at and stuff, and you can always get a cut. And especially when you're talking about ad revenues and things like that. Oh man. Oh yeah, yeah. I gotta dig a little bit more into this. Yeah, I might need to create my own shit because oh, and this is what it's funny. My friend, this is what they were talking about because as she was trying to talk about doing artwork and stuff and digitizing that, as they were talking about that, I'm like, you know what? Oh, that's a great idea. Huh. as for any of you musicians, artists, anything like that, so you might need to be thinking about this. Actually, I probably should tell some other friends that. Now, think about it. Oh yeah, this has got my head really thinking right now. It said NFTs power of new creator economy, where creators don't hand ownership of their content over to platforms they use to publicize it. The report, yeah, yeah. Hmm. It would also be hard to delete too off the blockchain. It kind of protects the user itself because these YouTube, Twitter, all the other, Facebook, they're not publishers, so they shouldn't be deleted their platforms. So they're not supposed to delete anybody's content and stuff. But they delete people's content because they're like, oh well, it's this and that in our guidelines, where the case may be. Huh. What happens when it's an NFT and it's on a blockchain? Eventually, at some point, you're gonna see YouTube, Facebook, all these entities go away. Because if they don't adapt with this blockchain technology that's coming, and it's not coming, it's here. Understand, this blockchain technology is here, right? These alternative media, social media platforms, all these different things, they're utilizing blockchain. DLive is on blockchain. Odyssey is on blockchain. I know there's some type of blockchain social media. I don't know Gab. I don't think Gab is, but I think there is a blockchain social media company out there. Like, this is coming, man. So you either adapt or you get left the fuck behind. That's all it comes down to. And this is one of the articles I want to show. I wasn't gonna get too much into it. It says China makes a significant shift in its tone to cryptocurrency. This is put up on Medium.com. The VeChain Foundation wrote this article, uploaded today on the 23rd of April. It says following important insights recently highlighted in various mainstream news media regarding blockchain technology and cryptocurrency in China. The media highlights include opinions and comments from the most prominent individuals and stakeholders, which VeChain has translated for our community. Checking the VeChain and their partnerships. When I invest in certain cryptocurrency, I look at, is there an organization behind it? Not necessarily an organization created because that's security, but is there an organization that utilizes that blockchain, that and those tokens, and are there any partnerships that coincide with that organization? So this kind of just talks about how much China is into blockchain, Bitcoin, all different stuff, whatever. But man, you guys, you gotta look into this stuff, man. This is the future. In fact, this is the present. This is the present, not the future. Shit is already here. It's been planning out over decades. Because you think Bitcoin is the first thing? Bitcoin is just an initial thing to get you through the door, to get everybody caught on. Because when you see Bitcoin at $50,000, $60,000 a coin and stuff, and everybody's like, oh man, I should have bought then. I should have bought then. We all could have been millionaires. Because I'm sure at some point in time over these past decade, everybody has sat and thought, oh shit, I should have bought Bitcoin, but didn't do it. So we all could have been millionaires or whatever. But we didn't do it. Now everybody's trying to figure out, oh, what's the next Bitcoin? But see, the next Bitcoin ain't Bitcoin, right? It's not just some coin that's created stuff that's been floating around. No, they're going to use these technologies, these blockchains, these distributed ledger technologies. You're going to have some type of utilization, right? You have to have some use case, some utility. They have to have real fundamental value that solves some type of problem. And then Brad Garlinghouse talks about it. Yeah, you gotta have these cryptocurrencies, these tokens that solve an actual real world problem. Because if you don't have any utility, if you don't have any actual case value, you're gone. You're gone. A lot of these cryptocurrencies don't have none of that shit. But definitely get into it, man. Do your own research. Pay attention to this stuff because you want to make money. Here you go, right here. Shit is easy. Shit is easy. It's easy. In fact, it's always been easy. We never think of it because what is the American dream? Get your ass out there, get a job, go to college, work really hard for 60 something years or my fault. You retire around 62, 64, 65, and then you can have fun with your life when you're old. I ain't trying to have fun. Obviously, I got my own disability, so retirement is knocking on the door a little early. It's not the way I wanted to, but I pay the price every day as I'm in pain for that certain thing. So it is what it is, but I'm still trying to accumulate some money so my kids, my grandkids, hell, I ain't even thought about my great grandkids, but now I'm starting to really think about that because I'm in a position where I got enough time to focus on this stuff. And I just want to share this information that I learned because not everybody might have the same time. And I always say, don't just take my word for it, do your own research. Use me as a place to just brainstorm. It's like, hey, I don't think this guy is saying things correctly and stuff. Let me go look up stuff on my own. I don't really like what he said. I don't agree with it. And that's perfectly fine. I hope you do that. I hope you do that because that means you're using your brain, you're thinking, and you'll make your own decisions. Because it's one thing if you buy into a cryptocurrency because someone else said it, right? I mentioned this before. It's one thing if you buy into something because someone else said it. Now you look like an idiot because you listen to someone else for no fucking reason. But it's another, you feel different then. But it's another thing when you buy into something and you did your research and all this other stuff and you lose some money. You don't feel as bad because it's like, hey, at least I took that risk. I understood what risk that went with it, and it all falls on me. I'd rather fuck up on my own as opposed to following someone else and they made some dumb shit and my dumb ass followed they dumb ass. Now we all out here looking fucking stupid. I'd rather put it all on my shoulders. But that's just me, man. As always, live stream on D Live, 11 a.m. Eastern Standard Time of the podcast, Monday through Friday. If I don't have the podcast up, I'll send out a notification. Twitter, Gab, my blog site. Make sure you guys check that out. Damien, Damien, Jackson22.com. I got my social media links and different ways you can listen to the podcast. All that good stuff, man. Hopefully you guys enjoy your weekend. Wherever the weekend is for you, it doesn't fucking matter. Enjoy the time off. Spend time with family and friends. Spread love. All that good shit. I'll be back on Monday. So until next time.